Welcome back to the Scorpio Bookshelf. I'm Joaquin.
And I'm Morgan, and this is a podcast about books, besties, and escaping reality.
Hey!
Happy Friday!
I love Fridays.
Oh, don't we all? End of the week, start of the weekend, time to read.
I was going to say time to party.
We don't party.
We don't party. We actually actively seek out not going to parties. I've avoided two parties this weekend.
Hilarious. This is our party.
Grab your drinks and let's go.
Heck yeah. This week, we are taking a little deep dive into the pressures of reading goals and the pressures around the Booktok space. Sort of just how reading can get a little stressful sometimes.
Yeah, it goes from your side hobby to your whole life. And for some, great. That's your new profession. For others, you got some other things going on and you kind of can't keep up. And we're going to try to point those out, see kind of how we do it, how we have dealt with it and stuff like that. But yeah.
And I don't promise this is going to be advice worthy. We probably have very maladaptive ways of handling
Absolutely. Things. If we are the type of people who do not deal with things in the best way.
Or at all.
This is true. We ignore it. Yeah, we do ignore things. But, so from my perspective, I was having a lot of trouble trying to read and keep up with things, especially because I am a little bit of a slower reader. So working a full-time job was a lot to then turn my brain off from work, but also have it open enough to want to read. I just wanted to close my eyes and not do anything until, I don't know, bedtime. But then that was also like, I'm exhausted, so can't.
Yeah, and there was a hot minute where you had some serious burnout going on.
It was so bad. I had a pretty bad slump, and it took countless amount of books for me to DNF to find something that hit again, and I was like, okay, finally. But no, it was so bad. I'm trying to remember like what month or season it was in, but I have heavily blocked it out, and that's like how I dealt with everything. So I don't remember.
No concept of what time frame that was in.
Yeah, no.
I just remember actively being like, please, it's gonna be okay.
It's like, are you reading yet? Are you reading?
You kept being like, oh yeah, what are you reading? And I was like,
Just me being so polite, like, great, what are you reading?
Like, trying to be so supportive while also being like, I hate everything.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't even remember what book pulled you out of that, but
it was
that
probably
was
a Roxy.
time. Probably.
It's
always a Roxy.
Yeah.
I am sort of the same perspective. I am also someone with a full-time job. I'm also a parent. My time is incredibly limited. And if I am too strong about reading goals and trying to read a certain amount of books in a month, in a week, in a year, whatever, I will lose my mind.
Yeah, that's why I started mine off this year being super low, because I am putting myself out there right now, putting myself on blast. I adjusted my shit so many times last year, not in a way where it was like moving it up. I started only last year, so it was like 10. And then I was like, whoa, I'm working my way through this. I think I went to like 75, 80.
You were like 10? 100.
And then as I was getting through the year, and I was like, we both started super strong last year, period.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then I guess, it was summer because I was moving.
Yes.
So I literally was dead. I was moving. There was stress. I was doing my own renovations. I did not pick up a book for 2.5 months.
And it was Roxy. More. It was There's Blood on the Reef. You got that arc and you were like, I'm alive again. Hello?
Yes.
It
was that. Again. So at that point, I was probably in my 50s of the reading goal. And I was like, okay, now it's fall. I was slowly getting into it, but I was like, I'm not going to reach 80. So then I moved it down to like 75. And then it was like the whole thing where it's like, you're 7 books behind. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you, Goodreads. 70, and it was like 4 books behind. I was like, I kept doing it, and then I ended it off at 65, and I reached 64. And the pressures literally of reaching that stupid number, because everyone else was reaching their hundreds at this time, I was like, no, I can't. I have to show, and I want them to see the notification when I get my 65th book that it's like, he reached his reading goal, blah, 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 just for a stupid automated message on Goodreads.
Mm-hmm.
I was so mentally scared to be one of the people who didn't reach the reading goal. And it was like,
do you want me to be so fucking for real with you right now?
Well, yeah.
I couldn't tell you which ones of the people that I follow on Goodreads met their reading goal and who didn't. I didn't even see their notifications.
Okay, well, yeah. In my head, logically, I know this. But...
And I think that's part of it, though, is that realistically, no one else is looking at your reading goal except you. But in your head, it's like this huge spiral of other people have these huge reading goals. They're going to see me. They're going to see that I didn't make mine. Mine is so low. How did I not? Like, you spiral. For the pod listeners, we're both spiralers.
Well, we spiral so hard. But I was paying attention, or I was worried because I pay attention to other people's.
Oh, you're that person. Okay.
Yes! That's why! I was like, oh, they're there? Oh? Like, I could have sworn you thought you were like, this was a higher goal. And that's me just like projecting.
Hundo.
So I projected, then I proceeded to spiral.
And then you read less because you were spiraling.
I read less. I literally, my flare-up, my very first terrible flare-up of eczema happened. I literally couldn't use my hands. So it was so bad that summer.
Mm-hmm.
That,
you were in a coma.
No, it was so bad.
No, like, genuinely, Joaquin and I talk every single day without fail. There was a period during that time period where we didn't speak for 48 hours, and I quite literally texted him at the 48-hour mark, and I was like, you don't need to answer me, just read this so I know you're alive. It's like, I just need the red receipt.
Holy fuck, that was so crazy.
And we've talked every day since.
I remember that day. I was in No Frills. Because I was in a No Frills doing grocery shopping with the fiance, and I remember, no, it was literally one of those out-of-body experiences where you're just like going through the motions.
Oh, yeah.
And I pulled out my phone and I was like, there's a text. And I was like, it was literally like, you need to read this or whatever. Usually I would just be like, fuck, my brain is, I can't. And I was like, fine, I'll open it. Okay, I've opened it.
Yeah. And I'm that kind of friend. Like, that's all I needed, because I wasn't about to text your fiance and be like, is he good? If you had left it another day, that's where it was going, though.
Yeah, and I guess that's why it's good we know the vicinity and what emergency lines we do need to call for our areas. But it was really close. It was really close.
No, and I think that's the crazy thing is, like, to be in that kind of place in your life. We've both been there. We've both had some moments in the last year. And to literally still be thinking about, like, oh my god, my reading goal. Like, you're in that kind of spot in your life, and that's still where your brain is going. That's crazy. That kind of internal pressure is wild. And I'm sure there are mentally healthy people out there who do not relate to this sentiment one bit.
So I'm so jealous and so happy for you, but
100%.
Like, you've got to know that we're crawling over here.
As we're talking about this, I'm like, there are going to be people who don't have any sort of mental health scenarios in their life who are listening to this going, these people are fucking nuts.
Yo, literally.
But I quite literally, I'll put it out there. I have, like, huge levels of anxiety. I always have. I have a diagnosed anxiety disorder. That's just who I am. I think about this stuff more than I would ever care to admit. I love Booktok, but Booktok is 100% a source of anxiety for me.
Yeah. That's why I stopped posting content for the longest time.
And it's not totally Booktok's fault. Like, it's partially a me thing. But also, Booktok do be a little toxic sometimes.
I literally, before we hit record, I told you I don't like filming because my shit isn't aesthetically pleasing enough for my... So, that's my anxiety of being like, my shit's so ugly, it's not gonna fly with all the Booktok people because they're not gonna like my content because my shit's so ugly. I didn't even realize that until I'm just like, yo, self-reflection, who gives a fuck? I do. And to be able to let go of that needing of validation of social media is killing me. And
I think this is also incredibly generational. We are both like the oldest of the Gen Z
we really are.
generation. So we are that age group that like didn't quite grow up with social media, but also had it by like middle school. And that has like a really weird impact on your formative who you are as a person years.
Yeah.
And now being a 27-year-old adult, I look around sometimes and I'm like, wow, we were 100% shaped by the fact that social media ran us from like 15 to 19 years old.
Even earlier, with like you had cousins and stuff like that. Like I had a ton of older 100%. Cousins, and it was. I remember being on the computer on Yahoo Messenger because that was the only way I could talk to family across the planet, and sitting there at a big chunky keyboard and just bopping away on shit, Mavis Beacon games and typing games and stuff. And back when the computer only did computer things and there was no real internet until you had to turn your dial up. And you couldn't use your microwave or the phone at the same time.
Yeah. This is such a total, like, off-spin to what we were talking about. But I think a lot of people will relate to this that are in our similar age group because of that experience.
Yes.
I think there's just, as soon as you set a public goal for yourself, there's just this unwritten level of competition that comes along with that. Like, you see everybody's Goodreads goals, although I don't really pay attention to it. Like, if you finished your goal, I'll be like, hey, congrats, you did your reading goal, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me, but somehow in my own head, like you have said, I'm thinking like, oh, my goal is so low, my goal is too low. If I don't get this goal, people are going to think I don't read enough. Like, how can I be posting on book social media if I don't break X number of books in a year? Like, I don't have a valid opinion because of it.
Literally that.
So dumb. If you read the book, you have a valid opinion. If you read a book, you have a valid opinion. Like, I don't know where our brains get this from.
Yeah, it makes me feel like if you don't read 40 books in a year, you don't have the title enough to be on Booktok. And that's like, it's like totally gatekept in my head. It's like completely a wall that just separates you from elites. Because at the same time, what my train of thought is that if I read so many books, that lets me have so many opinions, which gives me the authority to give book recs, because I don't want to just be giving the same 3 book recs. And the people who do that reach more people. The people who reach more people get rid of, and it just keeps piling on. And that's the people who end up being like 100,000 like follower type people on Booktok. That's because they read so much. They have so many recs for so many different types of people. And that's where people congregate with their profiles because they touch so many people. Versus if you're smaller, you don't read as much. If somebody were to ask me what my favorite book was for 2024, I'd be like, Roxy or Shepherd King Duology. Okay. And then it's like, do you have any more? No, I don't really read that much. And that's when it's like then you don't have a span of things. You don't have a library in your brain to give advice.
What's interesting to me, hearing you say that, though, is that genuinely Booktok recommends the same 10 books over and over and over and over and over.
And that's a point we're literally going to bring up, is the fact that people only recommend the same X number of books or series.
And I think I really don't want to get into TikTok drama on this podcast, but I think it's really interesting what TikTok chooses to get really spicy about and really angry about. Because there's always these same... We're just going to sound like SJM haters all the time, but I'm so exhausted with, if you liked any fantasy romance book ever, read Akatar. If you like non-spicy fantasy romance, read Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
I don't really see Crescent City as much, but that's because it's not as well liked as the other two. But god damn, there are so many good romantasy series out there. If you liked X doesn't equal Y.
Yeah.
That's why, like, shout out to Lex Mack is booked. I think that's her on everything. She gives the most incredible indie recs for every genre she reads. I 100% want to see content like that over content that recommends the same 5 popular books, 5 popular authors over and over again.
And we have friends who do that. Don't get us wrong, we love them. But I love them for their funnies versus their recs. And that's fine. That's completely okay.
And like it's different too if it's someone smaller that you engage with as a human.
Yeah.
Versus like these huge Booktok creators that are only mentioning huge books.
Yes, and out of us two, I am outwardly the SJM hater. That's fine. I'm known as that. I rage bait on my content every time.
All the time.
But what I want to establish is the fact that I don't like SJM, given the fact that I haven't read the books, because I am exhausted with the fans of said author. Their fans are sorry if you are part of it and you're friends, but if you're friends with us, you know that I've already said this to you, but you guys are so exhausting, and this is all you push. There was a huge time last year where it was just straight ACOTAR, and obviously Romantasy was getting really big too, so that was everything that was on TikTok. It's just the fact that everyone who was an SJM fan, no matter what topic it was, you would stick your nose in somewhere and go, but like SJM, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, we're talking about something completely different. We could be talking about sports biographies, and you could be like, yeah, but like SJM's brother's father's cousin wrote it. It was so exhausting. And that's what makes me hate ACOTAR and SJM, not even read the content itself. Anyways.
Yeah, I think it's comparable to a lot of big fan bases that have become popular. It gets a little toxic. It gets a little crazy. It's okay if people don't like the same books as you. It's okay. SJM fans really give off like the pitchfork
cancel culture. They embody cancel culture.
That it's like, oh, you didn't like ACOTAR? Bad taste.
Yeah. And then they'll like team up and bash you, and then all of a sudden you've fallen off the Booktok world because you couldn't take it because you were just a regular human being, or the fact that nobody was interacting with your stuff, obviously, and then you just get pushed from things. And that's just how the algorithm works. But it's in tandem with cancel culture, which is huge. Oh, God.
That's a whole other rabbit hole, quite honestly, but I think it's a good point to make that Booktok can get really, really cliquey.
Yes.
And it can be really hard to move past that. Booktok, to me, feels like high school sometimes.
100%.
And it can be really tough to be one of those people that's on, quote-unquote, the outside of these cliquey scenarios. Joaquin and I are both not typically, blanket statement, not typically super popular book readers. Like, yes, we love Fourth Wing. We read that whole series, whatever. I've read Quicksilver. That's another big one. But just because it's big on Booktok, I won't just immediately pick it up. And I feel like you're pretty similar in that regard. We both read a fair amount of indie.
Mm-hmm.
And we both tend to pick up what sounds good rather than what's being most recommended.
Yeah.
If that makes sense?
No, yeah, it does. 100%. I just think...
So it's, yeah.
I just think indies and stuff is just a lot. It's just fresh, different take on things, and I like going into books blind most of the time. So if I'm seeing something over and over again, I've accumulated too many opinions, too many spoilers, reviews, etc. So I automatically go into being like, I know exactly what's going to happen. I know who I'm looking for. I know who to hate. I know who to like love, and it's too. I like being completely blind.
Yeah, that's fair too. I think there comes a point where something has been shared on Booktok so many times that I'm no longer interested anymore. Or I wait till it falls off. I read Quicksilver after everyone and their fucking mother had read Quicksilver. And God bless, because I loved it. But I was annoyed at the time that everybody was hyping it up like crazy because I didn't want to read it and be like, wow, this isn't what I expected.
Right.
It's tough. It's tough. You want to be on book social media because book social media is fun and engaging and whatever. But there's also a point where, like, it's detrimental as a reader because all you're doing is constantly intaking other people's opinions.
Yeah. I think I like to tell myself that I lean more towards the mid-size authors. Compared to you, I'm not indie. You're very indie. I am like, if I was going to say, put them on a spectrum, obviously exaggeration, Stephen King, Brandon Sanderson, experienced, well-loved, deservingly well-loved authors. Mm-hmm. Cool. Indies are the Roxys, like Blake,
Maggie.
All those. Yeah, Maggie. Middles for me are like Riley Sager. Frida to an extent. Like the people who have a decent...
Frida has a pretty cult following at this point.
I literally just can't think of anything right now. And I used to be part of the Frida cult thing. I'm trying to like think of other people.
Consider, like, now that Bailey Hanna and Hannah Bonham Young are going to be trad pubbed.
No,
like smaller mid-size.
Those are like, yeah, indies getting there to mid-size. Mid-size are like, because Riley Sager has a good chunk of books under his belt where you're like, if you don't really know, you could like play around and find your way, because like Rebecca and Alexa would be like, if you like these, you kind of have this area. It'd be like, but it's not like, you don't hear people walking on the street going, Riley fucking Sager. But you could find the Sandersons everywhere.
So I will say then, Travis Baldree.
Mid.
In the cozy fantasy space,
Clune.
Massive.
Yes.
Outside of it, yeah, TJ Klune is also very mid-size, I would say.
RF Kuang, I'm saying mid, because that's a really specific niche for her as well. Red Rising guy. Pierce
Brown.
Pierce Brown, mid. And mid is not a bad thing in this context. Mid as in literally size, mid.
Mid as in medium-size intake audience. As in, if we're comparing it to, sorry, I'm not her fan anymore, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Stephen King. Those big, huge, well-known, you ask anybody who reads and they, oh yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Versus if you bring up Riley Sager to someone who's not a thriller reader, they're probably not going to know who that is.
That's the scale. People who don't read know you. People who read know of the name. People who are so intertwined with it only know these names. And that's kind of where the scale leads.
That's fair. That's totally fair. That's a decent way of thinking about it, definitely.
Because I love to be blind, but looking at non-spoiler reviews for me to be like, for people to just be like, okay, overall it's a 4.2. I know that it's well received. But if it's going into it like a 1.5, I'm like, okay, that's gonna be bad. Indies are so new that you're really taking a chance on somebody and helping their career, which is like scary and fun.
Also, like, the payoff of reading indies is you also get the cool warm fuzzies of, like, nobody knows about this amazing book, and now you get to go be the one to tell people.
Yeah, I'm a fucking hipster, yeah.
It's totally that gatekeepy, hipstery, I found it first vibe.
It is a good feeling.
But, like, when Bailey Hanna announced that she was getting trad pubbed, and I had purchased the indie covers of all of her stuff, I was like, hell yeah! That's amazing. I love that for me.
Yeah, like when you told me that I got... you literally said to me, that was the indie cover, and they don't make those anymore for Alive and Wells. I literally, in my head, you didn't even say anything, but in my head I went, I got the last fucking copy in the world. And it was like, my ego was so big.
Because they were already out of print by the time you picked it up. It must have been quite literally the last copy that Indigo had.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my god. So, I love that. But, okay.
I think this segues really nicely into The fact that we wanted to talk about how Booktok also is horrendous for glorifying over consumerism.
Yeah.
There is a constant pressure on Booktok to buy the next new book, to have a book haul to show, to buy the next special edition, to purchase, which is just not realistic for most people. And also, this is not to hate on huge Booktok creators. They get a fuckload of PR.
Yeah, dude.
So all these giant book hauls that you're seeing from people that have 100,000 plus followers are not their own money most of the time.
Yeah.
It's tough because I'm someone that posts a lot of book hauls because I'm a massive thrifter. I will post a book haul of 7, 8, 10 books that cost me the price of one hardcover in Canada.
Yep.
And also secondhand, great, whatever, good for the environment. Love that. But Booktok has this weird pressure vibe of like, you need to have it. You need to buy it. You need to get it. You need to show it.
It's poison at this point. It's so bad. I can't. It really takes a lot for me to just be like, no, you don't need it. Or, no, you don't need to. Even Book Outlet's a great place for great price books.
100%.
See, I'm like already stopping myself, being like, you don't need to go to the website. You don't need to know what their inventory is because I don't have the funds. That's a whole different story. But it's just like, I know I'm going to get wrapped into it. And it takes a lot for me to go into an Indigo because you literally knew I was in there yesterday. And I walked out with nothing when I walked by like 7 books and I was like, yes. But because I wanted to make content. I wanted to be like, check out my haul of 7 books. It's like,
yeah.
Can't do it.
And also, hot take, I think content that shows the book in someone's hand does better than like a, this is what I read on Kindle pop-up of the book cover.
Oh, 100%.
So that also drives the whole consumerist side of it. I also think, on the topic of consumerism, there was a little while last year where that stupid giant reading chair was everywhere. And it's like $1,500 in Canada.
I have 2 in mind. Is it the one that's wicker that looks like banana split? Or is it the one that's like a gigantic circle with tiny little arms with like a big ass fucking pillow on the back?
It's that one. It's either a rectangle like chaise lounge or like a circular.
Yeah, okay.
And it's that like puffy, soft material.
Mm-hmm.
It's that one. It's anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 in Canada, depending on if you get it from the original manufacturer or another furniture company. There was a point where everyone and their mother was buying this stupid chair to show that they had gotten the viral reading chair. If you have $2,000 to drop on a chair, I love that for you. I'm so happy for you. I wish I had the space in my house. I don't. But the fact that this one iteration of a fucking chair went so viral that people couldn't find it to buy it for a while is insanity to me. Because there's no way there weren't people that bought it and the first thing they did was sit down and film to show that they had gotten their hands on it.
Yeah. Oh, I missed that time. Yeah, that was a great time on TikTok.
There was literally... So I have a chaise lounge reading chair in my basement, you know this, in my little book corner. That's like an old, battered end of a sectional couch, but it's comfy and it works great. And there was a point where I stopped filming on it because it wasn't the aesthetic that everyone was expecting, because everyone had these cute, viral, fancy reading chairs. The one that you're thinking of, I think, is a pap stand chair, which is slightly less expensive and a little more realistic, but...
Yeah, I don't know. That one I'm thinking about, though, just seems weird, because it's like the wicker on wicker, and it like moves, and I'm like, if I put my weight a little bit too much on one side, I'm gonna fucking flip over.
It's for skinny people.
Oh, please put that in the description of your fucking videos. Goddamn.
They're pretty comfy, but like if you're a bigger person and you shift your weight too fast in a pap stand chair, you're gonna know it.
Cool. Whilst I literally read in something that I like the fiance picked up on Marketplace for free with like the wire trim that is like not attached to the chair anymore, and it's a disgusting flannel pattern that hasn't been in style since 2003. And I think if I wait long enough, it'll be back in trend because they'll be like, well, retro. And I'm like, bitch, mine's so retro it's ripping. Comfiest chair that I own, but definitely not something I'm showing right now.
Yeah, we have that giant comfy like 90s pattern chair in our living room that is the most comfortable chair we've ever owned.
Yeah, no.
Ugly as sin, but it's amazing.
That should be a trend.
Yeah, show me your unaesthetic reading space, please. Make me feel better about the fact that I have a normal lifestyle.
Yeah, like, check out my freaking bookshelves with my, like, sports fucking trophies as when I was a kid. Like,
honestly, and this is not a call out to the people that have the time, the money, the space, the whatever to do this. I love that for you. If you have a wall-to-wall home library and a $5,000 reading chair, power to you. But I think the unrealistic expectation that it creates in the Booktok space is wild.
Yeah.
And it's the same, we've talked about this on previous episodes, it's the same thing as like the pressure in media for women to look a certain way, the pressure in media for men to behave a certain way. It's all the same comparison, same sort of thing at the end of the day. Comparison is the thief of joy. That is the underlining message to this whole episode. And if you have the funds, the time, the space, the energy, the mental capacity to handle all of this that we do not have, I love that for you. I love that for you so much.
Teach
but I
me
feel
your
like
ways.
there has to be, no matter how niche it is, a group of people on Booktok that resonate with how we feel.
If there isn't, then I want to cry, but...
If there isn't, this episode's going to tank and we're both going to just be in a hole after this.
Yeah, whatever. But I guess that brings us to another thing that was huge last year and has since fallen off, at least from what I've seen, is book ferrying. And we were both part of... And that also comes with the cliques and the friend groups and all that stuff that was happening is...
And again,
everyone was
consumerism.
Just fucking off the chain, buying everything for everyone, making lists, putting them in your bios, making link trees, having everything there, just for you to have somebody send something back for you. So you're already like, bitch, I want this. I'm going to send somebody for them to want to send something back. So it's not like out of the kindness of your own heart. B, for them to film content with your shit, for them to post on theirs, for you to get more views and profile and whatever. And then the last point people were doing it was just because they love it and they love their friends, and I love those people because that was that was genuinely fun. But when we joined Facebook groups and it started off with a cute handful of people who were just super nice and they were actually great. No expectation. It was a great recs, great picks of things, to blowing up and it just being a random wish list Wednesday where
thousands of comments,
3,000 comments and 0 replies on every comment because nobody's doing anything. No one is like doing the keep a lookout, it comes in 2 days, and you're just like, oh my god, I love you. But so crazy last year.
And I think there's also layers to this, like you said. Like, we have book fair. We reference our group chat all the time. Within our little group chat, we have all book faired each other.
Facts.
For the most part. Like, we have all book faired each other. It's typically something we've read that's on the other person's list that's like, oh yeah, they have to read this, I'm going to send it to them. That's a whole different thing. If you want to send stuff to your friends, like, I send stuff to Joaquin all the time. Like, even my own books off my own shelf I have sent to Joaquin. If you want to be kind and generous to your friends, that is not what we're talking about here. It is the random, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm going to send you something because you're going to film it. It's going to do well for both of us. Whatever. At the end of the day, we cannot pretend that wasn't a little bit of the motivation behind the crazy book ferrying that was going on last year.
Well, yeah, because you wanted to be in it. You wanted them to be like, oh my gosh, I got all these things and X got me this one and I'm so excited because and then they read your note, so you tailor your note to that versus you actually just shooting the shit. When I send notes, I just put random shit versus it being super like aesthetic and whatever for them to read.
I'm usually either just like a softie in my notes, or I'm just an outright asshole and you can't read it on camera anyways.
Yeah. So, I mean, same.
Yeah, it was wild. Like, there was a point last year where we were both in a certain Facebook group that we were getting like multiple packages a week.
A week, yeah.
From these Wishlist Wednesdays. And it was truly, purely out of the kindness of people's hearts, because there were no expectations. The group was still relatively small. It was very like, X amount of people have gotten 1 week, you pick different people next week. Like, there were no expectations. Most of those people weren't even on TikTok, so there was no expectation of filming and tagging and all that. It was genuinely like, I love books, so I want to send this person a book. It got out of hand so fast, though. And it turned into, like, the specific group in question has shut down Wishlist Wednesday because nobody was gifting.
I even left it. I left it
almost a year ago.
I didn't leave it that early. I didn't leave it last March.
Just before the summer. It was before you moved.
So that was in it. I was only in it for a couple months then.
Yeah, you did not last long. You were done with the shit pretty quick.
Yeah, but I had other contributing factors.
As we referenced it, Joaquin had a lot of shit going on at that time.
Yeah, and other, like, not even just the thing with the book fairing, just other people in that group I had problems with. I am the type to very much wear my feelings, my facial expressions, all just straight up on my face or on my sleeve. So yeah. I made it known very early, especially to you, that I was like, can't do this person. I'm leaving. Bye.
Yeah.
But yeah, ferrying was crazy. I don't ever really see people ferry unless it might be like a new release to somebody or whatever. But that was crazy.
I see people ferry back and forth that are like friends enough that I know they're friends.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the extent of it. Like, I used to see Wishlist Wednesday every single Wednesday morning, without fail, on people's TikTok pages, on those Facebook pages, on Instagram. I can't tell you the last time I saw a Wishlist Wednesday post on TikTok or Instagram. And maybe that's because I stopped interacting with them.
Maybe.
But I also just think it's fallen off big time.
On top of that, the Follow Fridays.
Oh yeah, those were huge last year.
You know, I'm getting things where it's like I reshared other people's things, and it's like on this day you reshare, you post it, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like what am I doing? It's like that follow for follow shit I used to do back in for like Twitter and shit, and I'm like, or Instagram, and it's like, bro, I can't, and there's like just fucking 40 tags, and you're like, sorry if I didn't tag you, maybe I get you next week, and it's like, I'm literally 13.
Yeah. It's great. I think that it's really interesting because we were in sort of the same Booktok space at the beginning of last year. Obviously, that's how we met. And both of us have had such a shift in the Booktok experience since then.
Yeah.
That I think we have pretty harsh opinions. I won't beat around the bush about those experiences, because there was a point in time where we were basically best friends from interaction one. Like, let's not.
Yeah, literally. We were sitting on TikTok teams being like, so are we going to text? Because I fucking hate this app for messaging.
Yeah. I think it was the first time we tried to send a photo and realized you can't send photos off of TikTok Messenger. We were like, okay, fuck this. What's your phone number?
We're talking gifts, bro.
So, like, let's not pull any punches. We've been best friends since the get-go. And it was apparent very early on that we shared similar feelings about these things. But there was a point where we were in the same space, and, like, a lot of the people that we were friends with hit 1,000 followers at the same time.
Yeah.
Everybody got live access at the same time. And this is across different cliques. Like, multiple little groups of our friends hit 1,000, got live access, and were going live all the time. At, like, this time last year, pretty much.
Yep.
And it just became so wild to watch people actively only acknowledge certain people in their life. actively only talk about certain things in their life, actively only include certain clicks. Like, Booktok got so weird to me for a little while there that I was texting you and I was like, do you feel like this? Like, do you feel like the left out kid at the lunch table? Because I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I just wanted to talk about books.
I still feel that way to this day, to the very few people that go live. I fucking can't stand it.
Actually, this is going to be a minor little shout out. I think her ad is Sav Reads, but she does reading sprints still, like on a schedule every week. Her lives are some of the best ones that I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Because they don't give off that vibe.
You've told me about her. I haven't been able to check her out yet, but...
She rightfully has like 11,000 followers.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the one where you were like, this girl is tried and true to her and her content, and she's grown it because of just, this is what she does, and you can expect it from her. I love that.
Yeah.
It's the people who you see change on TikTok, on like in Booktok, that you're like, you didn't do this. I remember you being so hot on this topic that you said you would never do it, and look at you now on this side being a little hypocrite.
Oh no, this episode's getting spicy.
And it's like, and I'll be like sitting there. Oh, okay. So I've told you this
I'm so
many times.
I'm so nervous.
I have some, I want to say one-sided beef because this is just me feeling. So it's just like me telling you directly, Morgan, my beef with this person that they don't even know I exist. And could be friends.
I know what we're talking about.
Could be friends-ish. So I know they're live because when I go to my notifications page, they show all the people who are live. So I go, okay, bitch is live. I go to my homepage, go to the following tab, and scroll until I see their fucking live pop up as a regular, so they don't see that I'm in the live, but I'm watching their motherfucking face. And the amount of times I've done that and my screen starts to go black because obviously it doesn't think you're doing anything.
Yeah.
I will just half swipe my screen to keep myself, just to listen to all the shit that they were saying, because they were just shady people who were changing and that they were completely showing their true colors at this point. They were fake as fuck to get live, to get followers. As soon as they were like, okay, cool, I'm content where my shit is at, I can be a bitch. And I was like, cool, I'm going to start weeding myself out of this, backing out. But that was my tactic. I was like shady as fuck off the side.
I also think, and this is no shade at anyone outside of Canada, that our little Canadian Booktok corner is a very different experience than the broader Booktok
and like
community.
I can fucking name all these great Canadian fucking like creators off the top of my head too, and just friends that we've met.
Yeah.
I could not tell you. I can tell you one or two names of Americans that I'm like, you're bomb.
You know what? We've been a little spicy tonight. There are very few very large Booktok creators that I follow, not for fault of their own, just because I like interacting with people who will actually respond to me. That is, like, not a hate thing. Like, if I am like, I took your book rec, I loved it, I want to be able to talk about it with who gave me the book rec. You know what I mean? But we've talked about her before. Mercedes,
True.
Book Club Wannabe, I think is her is the bomb. She's fairly big now. Like, this is her full-time job at this point.
Yep.
But she is still the exact same person as when I followed her when she had 5,000 followers last year. And she still responds to comments. She'll still respond to DMs. She still reposts people's shit if they mention her. Like, she is still the exact same person and does what she likes, reads what she likes, says when shit's ads, says when it's PR, whatever. Like, love her. I'm sure there's other great ones that are just like that as well, but she is my favorite, like, big Booktok creator at this point.
Yeah, I'm just like scrolling through being like, who is a sleeper pick for Booktok that I feel like deserves so much more. If not, are they finally getting their flowers?
Okay, so it's Sav's Corner Reads is her at
Okay.
that I was previously talking about. She is lovely. She has almost 20,000 followers now. You go, girl.
Yeah, holy crap.
Almost 20,000 followers. She's so sweet. Response to comments is super true to her style, her brand, whatever. Like, she is fantastic. I love her stuff. And I don't remember. Yeah, Mercedes is. Yeah, Book Club Wannabe is her TikTok. Love her so much. She has 307,000 followers, and she still is exactly the same as a year ago when she did not have nearly as many.
I have to scroll deep because I feel like I haven't run into these people in a little bit, because I do follow a good number of people.
But yes, if you want great indie recs, oh wow, talked about her earlier. At Lex Mack is booked on TikTok, and I believe her Instagram is the same at. Such bomb videos, great recs, does a great job. And she's just like a sweet friend to both of us, I think. So that helps.
Yeah, she was the one who ferried me the Book of Doors, which was yeah.
Really liking, yeah.
And the good thing, see, the positive about great friends and stuff with the book ferrying when it was just straight to be great friends is that Lex never made me feel pressured to read it ASAP to get like comments on it, or like she was just like, I was just like, oh my god, yeah, like my TBR is so long. She was like, dude,
same.
Get to it when you get to it. Like, I feel you, just whatever. And I'm like, Lex, thanks.
Yeah, I love shouting out particularly our friends and other small Booktok content creators, indie authors. That is something we will always do and love on this podcast, so don't be surprised by that at any point in time. I mentioned Bailey Hannah a lot. She's also wonderful. I'm on her content team. She's so kind, and her books are so good. If you want more indie recs, we have a whole indie episode. All of the authors in that episode are amazing. We would consider some of them friends at this point. Like, I can't speak highly enough to the fact that Booktok has helped me create some of my favorite relationships and friendships that I've ever had, while simultaneously negatively affecting my mental health.
Yeah. Oh,
and it's
okay.
Weird. It's a weird spot.
It is. I finally I want to get her at right. Her name's Kiara. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Of Kiara's Book Obsession. I don't know if you have ever.
I don't think I do.
She recently just had a baby, I believe. So huge congrats to her. But she has I think one of the cooler collections of books or aesthetics of books on her bookshelf. Mm-hmm. And she only has 7,500 followers, but she gives some of the best like book content reviews, or like her thoughts on books. Like, they're so top tier. I literally commented the other day, I was like, you're amazing and I love your content. Just cause.
Just throwing it out
like,
there.
Oh my god. She definitely deserves that. Yeah. But that's who I was searching for that entire time. That and Smitty, aka Vino Poppy something, like 123. He's the one of the few men on here. And he's starting to get really big. He's starting to like do events and things like that. Yeah. And the man gets his books he literally gets them from library.
Yeah.
And
library.
I'm so hyped for the guy.
I love that so much, especially because it shows more people that you don't have to be doing anything crazy. Like, go to your local library, pick out books that look good to you.
Yeah, I love it.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, I love his TikTok as well. It's a great.
Okay, let me ask you, for you to explain to me what this whole monthly wrap-up drama that you saw was, because I am in the dark on that.
Okay, so there was someone on TikTok that posted a whole rant video about how monthly wrap-ups were triggering.
Okay.
Because they couldn't keep up with like people that were reading 25 books a month. You shouldn't be posting that. You're going to make other people feel bad. It was crazy. So Booktok obviously snapped back and was like, well, this is what I read, so deal with your shit.
Okay.
And I think what's important to note here is that the underline of this whole episode is that Joaquin and I realized that all of this pressure that we feel is internal. We would never blame anybody on Booktok for the way that we feel because it's in our heads. This girl
Most of it.
This girl decided that it was Booktok's fault and that people should stop posting monthly wrap-ups because it was their fault that she felt bad about how many books she read a month.
I'm never that fired up. And if I am, I go to you. I'm never going to go to fucking social media for it and get blasted.
Oh, and she did. She got blasted.
Like, what? You must have the biggest set of balls to fully just take on a whole community and think you're in the right.
Oh, people do it with Booktok all the time, though.
They do. They have been doing that a lot lately, actually.
Yeah. People love to go at the dark romance readers.
Yeah, dude. Like, let them fucking hang, dog.
Let them live.
They ain't hurting you. They're hurting their partners.
At the end of the day, the big message from this is that how you feel about how many books you read is your own problem.
And if you feel like you're alone with how you feel, you're clearly not. I can tell you that.
Absolutely not.
I can guarantee somebody else, at least one other spectacle being in this space, feels exactly the same way you did. If you feel the same exact way, like as to us, we would love to hear that for sure. Whether you comment on whatever the forum platform this is, or just straight up message us.
100%. And I would love to hear people's opinions on how they keep reading fun, how they keep making content fun, how they find other great content that they love, all of that. I would love to hear all of the ways that you keep the space positive for yourself, because I think when you find a good niche within Booktok, which I think I have now, finally, after almost 2 years on Booktok, or a year and a half, I guess, whatever. I lurked for a while before I actually ever posted anything, but I think I finally found the space within Booktok that makes me not only feel like my opinion is valued, but also that if you don't post for a while, people are still going to be here. If you don't post for a while, your friends are still your friends. Just because your video didn't get out of 200 yet because you haven't posted in a while doesn't mean anybody's going to interact with it less, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the friends that I met on Booktok that have also taken their little leave of absence because they just could not do it. And that's something. And I'm so excited for them to come back if they decide to. But I just know that I'm still going to support their ass, whether or not like they do or whatever.
So that's something else interesting that I was going to mention is that there are a significant number of people that both of us or one of us became friends with over the last year on Booktok that no longer post on Booktok or Bookstagram or both.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but it's also just proof that, like, life gets in the way for a lot of people. And reading is supposed to be fun. At the end of the day, reading is supposed to be a hobby that is enjoyable, that is not stressful, that does not make your life worse. Reading is supposed to be escapism. So if you are not currently feeling like that, maybe it's time to reel it back for a second, do some self-reflection, and figure out why.
And I mean, hey, that brings us perfectly into our little monthly reading update and kind of what
which
we're
is
doing,
hilarious.
where we're at.
Hilarious that we're going to talk about this after saying like.
Well, but we're two very different sides of these reading updates, and that's 100%. Fine.
I think this shows as well. We both actively read as a hobby, but our reading updates are going to be very different, and you're going to see reading updates of twice as many books as I read.
Yeah.
So let me just break this down for a quick moment before we do this. If you opened a book and you read a book this month, good for you.
Facts.
You are a reader. You are no less valid than somebody that read 30 this month. If you opened a book, if you listened to an audiobook, you are still part of the community. You still have a valid opinion. I don't care what anybody else says. That's my soapbox. I'll get off of it now.
Let me just hop on this milk crate. Okay, so mine is, I went from my reading goal being, I was at 12, I upped it up to 14. Let's go. 2 extra books. So I did finish the audio of Lights Out, 4.5 out of 5. That was fun. That was just...
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
It was a great time. And then I finished Out on a Limb.
Oh, we love Hannah Bonham Young. Yep,
so Lights Out, Navessa Allen, Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. Great. And as of right now, I am in the middle of 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna be 5-ish, but 4 actively audiobooks. So I have 61% through of Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Tommy. I have 25% through of Mr. Mercedes, Stephen King. That's banger.
Heck yeah.
I am also 57% through of Ruthless Vows, Rebecca Ross, which there was getting some hate. Mm-hmm. I'm finding it okay. It's going through it. I don't think I like it as much as Divine Rivals, but it is not dirt.
You don't hate it. Yeah.
And I'm on my 3rd kind of run through of Edge of Collapse by Kyla Stone. I'm going to say that because I listen to that at night and I obviously just fall asleep, but I'm not going to mark it as completed until I fully am like, I get the full story, but I'm loving this post-apocalyptic thing going on. So that's about it. And then I have other things on Libby that are waiting to be read as well.
Heck yeah. I am 6 books into March.
Woohoo! Flames.
And 25 books into 2025. It has been a decent month so far. The big reason that this total is at 6 is that I am ripping through Zodiac Academy right now.
Yeah.
I am 3 books into the series and no signs of slowing down. It is reality TV garbage in book form. I cannot say that it is written well. I cannot say that the dialogue is good, but god damn am I eating it up.
That was so out of left field too, because that was me going, hey, there's a graphic audio of Zodiac Academy.
Yes!
Yeah, so this was not on your, like, near future TBR stuff. It
was on my TBR, but I kept looking at it as like, oh my god, this universe is like 20 something books. I'm not doing this right now. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. And then Joaquin went, hey, the graphic audios of Zodiac Academy are just available. Like, they're ready to borrow all 3 of the ones that are out. So I was like, oh, fuck it. Like, I'll just listen to them, whatever. And now I'm doing a deep dive. It's fine. We're not.
But the way you're talking about it makes me feel like you could stop for a little bit, because it feels like different seasons of, like, Love is Blind reality, where you're just, like, hopping.
The first 2 books, maybe, but I'm in it in book 3 now. And depending on how it ends, I think it might be like a you gotta go to book 4 kind of deal. It is. Thank God it's a completed series. So I could just speed run all 9. But the last book is 1,000 pages.
If you try to speed run that, I have no words for you. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Okay,
I have to start prepping on how to pick people up from the depths of hell after that.
Okay, Zodiac Academy aside, I finished Moonraven Rising by Blake Gallows, which is the 3rd book in her trilogy. Amazing. Love it. Love her. We all know this. Then I read Tattered by Devney Perry. Was fine. Small town romance. Was okay. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. There was certain things about the male main character that really pissed me off, and that's what dropped my rating.
Oh.
Then I read Between the Pines by Amber Palmer. I think this is going to be my top read of the month.
Wow.
I think I even if I read 5 more books, I'll be surprised if anything surpasses it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I ate this shit up. I read it in one night. We had multiple friends, Lex actually being one of them, and Kelsey also both got it as an arc. And I saw them both post it being like, nah, this was so good. So I was like, whatever, it's on KU, I'll read it. I read it in one night, immediately ordered the paperback, and I want to reread it again to annotate it now because, it was, if you were a cowboy romance reader and you have ever been done wrong by a man in your life, please read this book because Lincoln will will make your heart whole again. It is, you will be good. I have no words. I'm tripping over my words. I loved it so freaking much. The last book that I read was actually my first Elsie Silver. As a cowboy romance girl, I know it's mind-blowing to the universe that I have not read Elsie Silver prior to this. No, I did not start with Chestnut Springs. Don't yell at me. I read Wild Love, which is part of the Gold Rush Ranch series, I think. Let me double check that before I stick my foot in my mouth. No, Rose Hill Ranch series.
Say Gold Hill?
No, Gold Rush. It's the Front Runner series. Okay, it's the other new series that she has. And I liked it. I like my indie cowboy romances better.
Okay.
But I think book 2 of Rose Hill will be more up my alley. Book 1 was a billionaire romance, which you don't expect in cowboys, and that's not usually my jam. But I did like it. It was a good time. It was an easy read. I did still really enjoy it. And as my first Elsie Silver, I can totally understand where the hype is coming from. It's a solid romance read. And then, yeah, I'm on Zodiac Academy train now, so we're just powering through.
So there is that stark contrast between us as readers, very much so. I feel it. I think I'm going into slump.
No!
It's, I don't know what's up. Hence the 4 different audiobooks, depending on the vibe.
How sad am I? Which book do I pick?
No, literally.
Yeah, no, full vibes. Like, I get it.
It's also one of those, like, yeah, I just don't have the mental... I cannot read with my eyeballs right now. But I can't listen and pay attention right now. So I literally am just sitting there. So I think I might have to just take a break from things, which is cool. And until I'm back where I'm like, eyeballs reading can do this right meow, I'm going to have to chill.
No pressure, Roxy, we need you.
I'm going to have to send her a message after this. I might just reread her Christmas one that she did, like that she had.
Yeah.
That was
I've been wanting to reread Jude.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it would be fun to reread Jude and annotate like her discovery points through the book. I think that would be fun. Anyways, we're not going to turn this into another Roxy rabbit hole, but Roxy, if you're listening, Rocky needs help.
I need help.
I need an adult.
Help me. But
quite literally, Roxy has pulled Joaquin out of slumps
3 times.
With every release since he discovered her.
3 times. She's done it 3 times.
She is a queen and we love her.
I literally think it was 3 times. Tangled Web, Blood on the Reef, and then I think it was
Kiss Me in the Dark.
Was it Kiss Me? I thought it was Through.
Because Through was one we read on KU. Kiss Me in the Dark we got as an arc.
It was Kiss Me in the Dark. Cool. Cool.
And you actually read Kiss Me in the Dark first, and you were like, you're going to have to read this in one sitting.
Yeah, because I'm looking at all the books that I have like on my physical TBR. I'm like, yes, I remember. I want to read that. But with my mental state, there's no way I'm going to read it. But, hey, it is what it is.
Why don't we, buddy, read Bridge Kingdom?
Fantasy, I'm scared.
But we could do it together.
That doesn't mean fuck all for me.
Me taking 6 weeks to read fucking The Only One Left by Riley Sager.
Yeah, that was her last buddy, and I said, fuck this.
It took me so long to read that it's not even funny. Bridge Kingdom is like no magic though.
Funny, when I was in Indigo yesterday, I was going in, I'm like, I'm just gonna buy the second one. I know I'm gonna love the first one because people have said it. People have said that they loved it, so I'm gonna buy the second one. I know you already have it.
Me pulling the second one off my shelf.
I know, I wanted to. Oh!
Well, they're so pretty.
Because I've...
Think about it like this. It's like, we talked about this, it's like a duology. So don't look at the big picture, look at the little picture.
I need motherfucking pictures in the book. That's the only book I'm gonna read. Somebody give me a fucking Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Geronimo Stilton.
Okay, we're gonna buddy read Bridge Kingdom, and we're gonna FaceTime, and I'm gonna read it to you. There you go. It's time for us to get off.
But if you think... No, because I have Soft DNF'd Alive and Wells. Okay, Soft DNF is my pause, guys. It's just a pause. Soft DNF, Alive and Wells. Soft DNF, Out of the Woods.
Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
Joaquin never read romance before, and then jumped into the deep end and was like, whoa, I need to take a romance break.
Yeah, so
he doesn't actually dislike the book. It is a pause because the genre is not right now.
You know what? Maybe I do. Because Motherfucker. I don't know, dude. This ain't it. We need to figure this out off pod because this ain't it.
Happy Friday. If you have made it to the end of the podcast, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, so you guys know where to find us. 12 p.m. EST every single Friday. We are Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and literally all the above. I cannot list them off the top of my head anymore. You find us, and wherever you listen to it, we're there. But anyways, we love you. Don't put so much pressure on yourselves. And enjoy.
Have fun with reading. Don't stress yourself out. Bye!
Bye!